Take your college basketball calls as well. Pistons. Boy, they really make you want to give up on them. They really make the case for giving up on them. 248-539-9797. Ticket text at 97136. Let's get to some of the tweets that we have gotten here, which are plenty. Regarding the Red Wings and the trade deadline, from Troy Stockwell on Twitter, Mike Green has cleared his no-trade clause to the Capitals or Lightning. Being a Lightning and Wings fan, I hope he goes to the Caps. Being a Lightning and Wings fan, I hope he goes to the Caps. So you obviously don't think much of him. From Kung Fu Denny, on Twitter. Kung Fu Denny. Gator, watch for that Twitter check mark.
Thank you. Thank you for the heads up.
From David, watch out for fake Pierre LeBrun. These are all things that we will do. From Justin, someone wake up Ken Holland and let him know that the trade deadline's in 5 hours. The Red Wings need to get rid of half the team. I don't know if that's possible given the amount of time left. Chad then tweets, realistically, only Green will be moved today, maybe Tatar or Nyquist, but I wouldn't expect that to happen.
Well, is there anybody that's untouchable on this team that you would say absolutely do not trade this person? Because to me, there are two.
My first instinct is no. Nobody's untouchable. There are guys that I would have to have the doors blown off to say, yeah, I'll do it.
Realistically, nobody's going to blow your doors off, though. So if that's the case,
I can't see anybody going all in on Mantha or Larkin.
Those are the two.
Yeah.
I think everybody else is fair game.
So I can already hear the Athanasiu crowd, running to send the text that we're idiots because we don't think of him as untouchable. But why don't you have him in the untouchable category?
Because he's just not in that category of a player. I think he's an okay player. He's a decent player. I think if he were somebody that were, I don't know, if he scored more than what he did, I guess I would consider it. But he's not. He's just not that overall potentially impact player.
I like him a lot.
I like him
because of his age.
I know it doesn't sound like it, but I do like him.
His growth curve is pretty steep. I would expect the teams would have interest in him. There was a column last week. I think it was Wojo that wrote that they should move him. I'm sure he would fetch a pretty nice price. I would think.
Well, what's the nice price?
I mean, a first-round pick for sure, right?
I don't think he would fetch that.
Don't you?
Nope.
Then I guess I wouldn't trade him. Because I think if you got a young guy,
if he did, I'd do it.
You'd do it for a first round.
Yeah.
What do you think it would fetch in return?
I think he's probably a second or third round guy in return, and for a number of factors. Number one is that you have to sign him next year because they just got him to that 1-year deal.
Right.
And you already know that he's looking for much bigger payday than what he got with the Red Wings. I'm not impressed with his productivity to this point. He's getting better, but 12 goals in 51 games isn't, making me go crazy about it. The 28 points in 51 games, I'm more impressed by that. But defensively, he takes, I think he takes too many gambles, and he's not been that good for them defensively. That's a part of his game is going to have to get better. But if he's traded to another team, some other teams don't care as much about that as maybe the Red Wings organization does. And he might be better off with a change of scenery, but I don't think he'd fetch a first-round pick.
Yeah, I would think that if they get a first-round offer for him, they move him because he was a fourth-round pick who's turned out to be a pretty good player. That if you could turn a fourth-rounder into a first-rounder, you've done. It's a good return on your investment. So, 248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136 from AD in Oak Park. My champ, Michigan State hoops. My chump, Pavel Datsyuk, for his comment over the weekend about winning the gold medal.
Why?
Because he said it was more important to him that the gold medal was bigger for him than winning Stanley Cups.
What's wrong with that? It's how he feels.
It is how he feels. There's nothing wrong with how he feels.
Do you think that he didn't care about winning Stanley Cups?
No. That's not my take. I wouldn't say that. I would say the Stanley Cups, if I had lived Pavel's career, I would say the Stanley Cups are more important, and here's why. The NHL players weren't at the Olympics. the KHL players were. The Russians should have won the gold. And I'm not saying that it isn't important, but if the NHL players were there, I could see it being a bigger deal. In fact, if the NHL players were there and I was on Team USA and we won a gold, I might say that. I don't know what it's like to be a player in the Stanley Cup Finals or a player in the hockey tournament, the Olympics. But the tournament. Raise your hand if you thought Russia was going to win it going in. I did, and I don't want to say they had a built-in advantage because they didn't have all of their guys that are in the NHL either. But everybody thought Russia was going to win. They did. I'm surprised that he feels that way. I wouldn't have, given the circumstances.
The best players from Russia are playing in the NHL. They're not playing in the KHL. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the Olympic Games mean something different to the Europeans than it does to the North Americans. Playing in the NHL, that's where you make your money. That's your job. Playing for your country is something else and probably means more to those in the European countries that have to come overseas here to play and earn a living as opposed to live here already. So I would defend him to the hilt when it comes to people like that texter that said shame on him for caring more about the Olympic gold medal than winning 2 Stanley Cups here in Detroit. It doesn't mean he didn't appreciate his time here in Detroit. It doesn't cherish the time in Detroit. What it means is that it meant a little more for him to win the gold medal.
I would say
because it's for his country.
I would defend him simply on it's what he feels.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with what he feels. I highly doubt I would feel the same way, but it's his personal.
You're also for somebody living in the United States, and it's different.
Yeah, I grew up here. He grew up there.
Exactly.
But
he grows up watching the Red Army teams, or maybe not Red Army teams at that point, but you know what I mean? The history of all that.
I'd be more likely to chump this guy who chumped Pavel than chump Pavel. Yeah. I disagree with Pavel, but I wouldn't chump him. I have a different feeling towards Pavel than Pavel on the exact same topic. Having grown up here, but also having never played in the Stanley Cup or the Olympics, I think all of us are speculating on how we would feel. But I would speculate that the Stanley Cups would be more important to me.
I would imagine that if you...
How do you think you'd feel?
Well, I'm an American, so I think winning Stanley Cups is more important to me as an American, but I'm not, born in Russia. If I had... Let's say that I was a pretty good hockey player, okay? Let's say that I decided to play for Team Sweden, or I wanted to because of my Swedish heritage, and I'd won a gold medal with Sweden. Mm-hmm. And I had also won Stanley Cups here with an American team, with the Wings, let's just say. I would imagine it would mean more to me to win a Stanley Cup, even though I had the opportunity to go and win a gold medal with another country.
Karsch and Anderson 2.0 gets underway next, 97.1.